Hey, what's up? This is Joshua, Daily Video Blog. I know that these videos are all anecdotal and largely personal, but I think today is going to be a little bit more anecdotal and personal than usual. So I'm over on the Mississippi River in downtown Minneapolis, and I'm taking some photos. I just recorded a video blog, and then now I walk around in the paths in here and I take photos of trees and shrubs and stuff. Basically the color green with patches of the color brown. And so I was thinking about this thing of the last video I just recorded was about the idea of the only work I've ever done that I really think is bad is because the process was bad. It could have been as simple as there was no process. It could be that it was derivative. It could be that I wasn't fully committed to it. There's any number of reasons for the process to be bad. Though the one thing it seems to have in common is the idea of having to come up with an idea. And so I was thinking about this, I was thinking about a painting that I made back in, I don't know, 1997 or 8 or something like that. So I was really into, I think randomly, like in a library, I started to discover, maybe it was in our history classes in community college, but discovering abstract expressionism. And at the time, I was a hardcore punk rock kid, and I think that stuff spoke to me in a really big way. The lack of rules, the combination of chaos with formalism, that kind of thing. Maybe just like the pure violence of that kind of work. It spoke to aesthetically what I was already interested in music. Anyway, abstract expressionism, great. So I was thinking about this painting, and it's like, I'm trying to think if I made very many abstract paintings. I don't think that I did, but I remember this one, and for some reason I always look back on it in this kind of cringy fashion, and it's because it was so at odds with how I work or how I should be or should have been working. Maybe in general, making an abstract painting with paint and a paintbrush is a doomed endeavor post-abstract expressionism anyway. Regardless, I made this painting. I think I adhered something to it to try to introduce like a kind of depth thing, but I'm pretty sure that was just something I stole from Robert Rauschenberg, who stole it from Joseph Albers. So basically it was really derivative, and it was like the only painting I made like that. And the reason I am thinking about it is because on a fundamental level, almost 20 years later, my aesthetic concerns are the same, at least as far as art is concerned. I'm interested in abstraction. I'm interested in a conventional notion of beauty. I'm just not interested in convention. A really good unbroken song is still a conventionally beautiful thing. It is just not conventional. It's still aesthetic. It still has contrast and force behind it. So that was the kind of stuff I'm interested in. And I'm still interested in that stuff right now. So I'm sitting out here in the woods. To make that painting, I had to come up with an idea. I didn't have a process that could generate form. The problem for me with trying to make an abstract painting is that each brushstroke requires a decision to be made. That was difficult for me. And to get around having that, it didn't occur to me to invent something. And every other way of looking at it was overly conceptualized. I don't like conceptualizing things. So I go out in the woods here and I don't conceptualize things. I take my phone and I point it at patches of green that grab my eye. Occasionally what happens is there's like a very distinct broken branch, but I almost never shoot that thing. It's almost like shooting a portrait. It's not something I'm terribly interested in. So I point it at a patch and I just shoot and shoot and shoot. And I'm looking for sort of certain things. I'm moving the camera constantly. I am looking for lines. I am looking for composition. I am looking for activating the edge. I am looking for, if there's sky in it, which I try to avoid, that the sky be doing something in the composition, that it be acting as a mass. I'm looking for other things to act as masses. So basically it's about a tension between flatness and depth. I don't like there to be a lot of depth, but I don't like it to be completely flat and shallow either. I'm looking for lines to be doing something. I'm looking for undulating forms, and I'm looking for a lack of edges, basically. Which is, if I think about that painting, those were probably the exact same things I was doing then. The point being that I have an understanding of what I can and cannot or will and will not do when I'm making art. I didn't have that in 1997 or 98 whenever I made this painting. And when I look back on it, the process was broken, the work is broken. It felt derivative, it still feels derivative, it was derivative. The tree photos I make, the only thing I can think of that's sort of like them, I think, is Thomas Struth. I believe he makes some photos like that, but I don't think about Thomas Struth when I'm making them. I don't think about anything. I think about my interests, period, and purely. And I think about my way of working and what I want to get done with it. And what am I trying to say? So I don't believe in coming up with ideas to make work. I just believe in play and instinct and impulse. So I'm walking in these woods on a daily basis and I'm making videos, these YouTube videos. And at some point something grabs my eye and I start taking pictures of it. And then over time, those pictures are becoming a body of work. They're becoming both a subject matter and a source of material. And they allow me to explore aesthetically the things I'm interested in while avoiding the things that I'm not good at. If I sat down to make an abstract photo and had to come up with an idea of how to do that, I don't think it would work. I don't think I would get anywhere. I think other people would get somewhere, but my whole way of working is about amassing a pile of images, then going through those images and figuring out what's doing the things that I want to do, and being in a place where there are masses to work with. So while they look radically different, the tree photos and the abstractions that I post to Instagram, which are photographs of bags of trash in my house, but there's no conceptual thing to it. It's just a piece of source material that allows me to exercise my concerns while being in a constant state of discovery and play, which is very critical. So both of these things, they were not conceptualized decisions. I never said I want to make things that feel like Jackson Pollock paintings. Bushes would be that thing. That's not the deal. The deal was, I feel like trying to make pictures of this. What might they look like? And then I start to gravitate toward the thing I'm interested in. And I start to see more and more what it is I'm interested in making a picture of. The same thing happens with the abstractions that are made with the garbage bags, this garbage sculpture abstractions. They're a way of working. They were not an idea. They were never an idea. They were a joke at first. They were a funny thing to do with trash because I don't like touching trash cans. And they turned into an entirely different animal. And they allowed me to understand some of my own concerns. And now they're a way of working. They're not the subject. They're another tool. And I don't have to make decisions. So for my creative process, it's critical to get decision making out of it. For the kind of images I want to make, decision making feels like artifice. For other people, it's fine. But for me, the notion of trying to plan out or think through what the image should look like, it doesn't work. What I need to do is fill the plastic bag up with straws and IKEA hardware and old belts and Legos my kids forgot to put away. And then I tie that bag up and I sit down and I work with no expectations of how many images I might get. Sometimes I get nothing worth looking at. I toss that bag in the trash and I move on with my life. Other days I have so many images and I keep coming back to that same bag until I'm done with it. Both of these methodologies remove decision making from the process. Because of that, I love the work. I love the images that don't work. I don't post them, but I love them. They are good because the process is good. The process is coherent with my thinking. It's coherent with my aesthetics. It's coherent with my ways of working. One of the most important things that you can do for yourself as a creative person is figure out if your process is truly in alignment with your personal philosophy about art making and your ways of working that will allow you to be productive. If your process doesn't allow you to be productive, it's broken. If you're a perfectionist, there's a good chance your process is broken. If you procrastinate, there's a good chance your process is broken. Your process isn't wrong, it is wrong for you. Just like making an abstract painting with a brush and a palette was wrong for me, but making an abstract photo with an iPhone and a bag of garbage is exactly right and allows me to exercise those aesthetic concerns. Thank you for watching. This video was way longer than I expected it to be, but I'm in this lovely breezy spot, so I'm glad that we could talk. If you are not subscribed, you should subscribe. This is the kind of shit that I talk about on a daily basis. As always, thank you for watching.